now.
Okay, thank you, Dove, and welcome everybody. And today's topic is a very interesting topic about the halachic permissibility of choosing gender of a child. Okay, and that really speaks about what is the mitzvah at hand, and is one allowed to, and in what way, if one is allowed, in what way. We'll discuss three different methods that are used today to try to direct the gender of a child, of an embryo, obviously before fertilization, right? So we'll discuss the different ways and the different approaches, halachic approaches, and the background upon which these approaches are resting. This comes from a letter written by Rav Menachem Burstein, who is the head of the Pua Institute. Pua is, well, where does the name Pua come from?
Shifra and Pua.
Shifra and Pua were the Jewish midwives in Egypt, and they would help with the births of the Jewish children there in Egypt. So it was named the Pua Institute, and this is a halachic organization which helps married couples with fertility issues and is sure to do whatever they do within the parameters of halacha of Jewish law. So the letter that he sent is, we are turning to the Rav, and this was sent to a number of different rabbis. We'll go through some of the different responses, with a question that arises often among many of the couples who contact our institute regarding the possibility and permissibility of selecting the gender of a fetus. Okay, just a little bit of Bio 101. The woman's egg is made up of the female X chromosome, while the man's sperm cells have they have the female X chromosome or the male Y chromosome. So depending on which type of cell fertilizes that egg, if it's the X cell that fertilizes the egg, so it's XX, the child is female. If it is the Y cell, then the chromosomes are XY, and the child will be a boy. What can be done in order to direct the gender of the child? So today there are primarily three ways of doing so. One is a special diet, which can affect the chances of a boy or a girl, right? And also checking the time of ovulation. And how long before ovulation did the couple have their marital intimacy? That will affect it. Why? This is based on the theory that maintains, remember the story of the tortoise and the hare? Okay, well, to a certain degree, there's a theory that applies to the different types of cells. The male sperm cells are like the hare. They travel faster, but they don't have as much strength. They're not as durable. The female sperm cells, those which have the X chromosome, right, are slower, but have greater durability. So according to this, marital relations very close to the time of ovulation will increase the chances of it being male, because the male sperm cells will get there in time for that ovulation. Whereas if it's done a few days before ovulation, then the male sperm cells will no longer be around. The female sperm cells will have taken longer to get there, but they have this durability. They will still be around. That is one approach. Similarly, a diet that has a more acidic in the environment in the woman. So the woman's diet, if it's more acidic, that is more hostile to the sperm, that will increase the chances for the more durable female X chromosomes being viable, and that will increase the chances for a girl. Whereas the opposite diet will increase the chances for a boy. That is...
You didn't mean Hasidic. Hasidic.
What did I say? No, not Hasidic. Acidic, yes. Okay? This theory has not been fully proven, right? And using this has seen partial success. According to experts, it gives the family a 60 to 75% chance of success. Okay. A second method is based on the understanding that there's a slight difference in the specific gravity of the male cells and the female cells. And therefore, using laboratory equipment, they attempt to separate the two. Once they have, now of course, when it comes to this, then the male needs to produce his sperm outside of the female, okay, which automatically runs into halachic issues of spilling or wasting the seed. Okay, now, so using this method, they attempt to separate the male and female cells. The cells from the desired gender are then injected into the woman's uterus, right, using IUI, intrauterine insemination. And the chances for this, they say, is about 85% success rate, because it doesn't separate 100% of the male cells and the female cells, but it certainly does a adequate, somewhat of a job of doing that, and therefore the success is 80 to 90%.
What do you mean by the male and female cells? Because the sperm.
No, he's talking about the sperm.
The sperm cells, some of them are X chromosomes, some of them are Y chromosomes.
So you're separating them by the chromosome.
Correct. The X chromosomes, those are male sperm cells, and if they will fertilize the egg, the child will be a male. And the Y are female and, I'm sorry, other way around. X is female and the Y is male. Okay. The third method is in vitro fertilization. Once again, the sperm is taken outside of the body, and when the embryo develops to 8 cells, doctors remove 1 or 2 of the cells, check the gender. So they have these, they external to the body, they fertilize eggs using cells. Once they have grown to 8 cells, that big, then they will determine the gender of the two, and those that are the intended gender are then implanted in the embryo of the woman, and this is complicated, medically speaking. This is costly, and this is like any other in vitro fertilization, and this is considered to have a 100% success rate, because they see exactly what this embryo, how it's developing. What is it? Is it XX female? Is it XY male? And the ones that are the desired gender, that is what are, those are the ones that are put into the uterus. They take hold, then we've got the pregnancy and the desired gender. These are the different ways of doing it. Let me just finish the question, Dov. Okay, now, why will couples want this? Right? One possibility is where the parents are carriers of a genetic disease which will only show up in either males or females. And therefore they want to make sure that this is a child who will not have that disease. Perhaps more common is where the couple already have a number of children of one gender. I know a family that had 5 boys before they had 2 girls, for example.
Or Ted
Okay.
with 5 girls.
Yeah, I know a family that had 5 boys, right? Right. So family has had a number.
You've got a family in your congregation that are 7 boys.
7 boys. That's
No
right.
girls.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. So the couple already have a lot, or whatever, have a number of one gender, and they want to have the other gender. Now, there is a mitzvah. We'll soon see. The first source we're going to go through is the Mishnah, which deals with the mitzvah of pru or vu, right? Of multiplying, of having progeny, and how one fulfills that mitzvah. Yes.
So the pre-implantation genetic diagnosis of the selected embryo is 100% successful for gender, but it's not necessarily 100% successful for pregnancy, because
Correct.
that embryo still has to implant.
Correct. And then we have the question of the halachic permissibility, advisability, permissibility of any of these methods. Okay. Now, he adds into this shaila that he's asking that many of the couples who do turn to the institute are under a lot of stress, right? And therefore this becomes a serious shalom bayit, marital harmony issue, and to the degree that often it can lead even to divorce. Okay, so the shaila, the question that was posed is, what circumstances, what methods will be permissible to undergo one of these treatments, and is there, after X amount of children of one gender, that's when, if there is permissibility, that's when it would kick in. And clearly it's obvious, we understand, every situation must be evaluated individually. But what are the general halachic guidelines? That was the question posed by Rav Menachem Burstein of the Pua Institute. So let us begin first with the Gemara, the Mishnah in Yevamot. The Mishnah there says it's the first source. We have it both in Hebrew, and underneath it we have it in English, so everyone should follow as they are most comfortable. Lo yivatel adam mipir v'rivya. A person should not cease from being involved in pirya v'rivya, in having children, ela im kain yesh lo banim, unless the person has children. Beit Shammai omrim. Beit Shammai defines this having children as shnei zicharim. Once a couple have 2 male children, they have fulfilled their obligation. Ubeit Hillel omrim zachar unekeva. Beit Hillel disagrees, and the halachic ruling is like Beit Hillel, and they say no, it must be a zachar or nekeva. It must be a male and a female. Once a couple has had at least one boy and at least one girl, they have fulfilled, or he has fulfilled, the mitzvah of pru urvu shene'emar. And Beit Hillel brings a scriptural source from the very beginning of the Torah, Zachar unekeva bira'am. By Adam and Chava, Adam and Eve, Zachar unekeva, male and female, they were created. So it all began with Zachar unekeva, with a male and female, and that is the obligation going forward. Right? Beit Shammai's response to that is, well, you can't derive a general practice, a general law, from a situation that had to be the way it was. Ein danin efshar mishi'i efshar. Meaning when the world began, it had to start with a male and female. So, right, but it doesn't need to continue with every couple having a male and a female. The Gemara points out, let's start the Gemara. Ha yesh lo banim. Now, it says a person should not desist from trying to have children unless they already have fulfilled the mitzvah. Hayesh labanim, if the person has children, may pir virivya batil. So at that point, a person is no longer obligated to be attempting to have more children. May isha lobatil. However, from a marriage, one should not become batel. Right? Messiah Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel. This is a proof to the teaching of Rav Nachman in the name of Shmuel. To Amar Avli sheyesh lo la'adam kama banim. Even though a person might have many children, also la'amod below isha. A person should not be unmarried. Shnei as it says. Right, we see a lot in creation that God saw that it was tov, that it was good, it was good, it was good. Where does the Torah first introduce the concept, the term of lo tov, not good? Where do we find that? Shenemar lo tov, heyot ha'adam levado. Exactly. Either not good that man should be alone. Ika da'amri, that those that say hayesh lo banim batim pirivarivya. Some want to say the opposite, that once a person no longer needs to have children, then a person no longer needs to be married, which would be going against to Yufta Rav Nachman Shmuel. Lo, ein lo banim no say isha. No. Actually, we're saying as follows: if a person should be married. Ideally, a person should be married. Ein lo banim. Person doesn't have children. No say isha bat banim. Then he needs to choose a wife who's able to give him children. Yesh lo banim. If a person already has children from a previous marriage, then no se isha dolav bat banim. Then it's not an issue to marry a woman who is either unable to or has aged past the point of having children. Nafkamina, the practical difference would be limkor sefer Torah b'shvil banim. Should a person sell a Sefer Torah in order to have the funds to marry a woman who will be able to give him children? If he already has children, he doesn't need to do that. If he doesn't, then yes, right? He would do that. There's one more line in Beit Shammai Omrim Shnei Zecharim. Beit Shammai says 2 males. Now, Beit Hillel gave their reason for male and female. That we derived from creation, from Adam and Eve, Garden of Eden. What's the reasoning of Beit Shammai? Yalfinan mi Moshe. He's got a pretty good precedent. Moses
was married.
Right? Moses was married, and what did he have?
2 boys.
2 boys. Dichtiv v'nei Moshe, Gershom ve'Eliezer. The sons of Moshe were Gershom and Eliezer. Beit Hillel says we need to learn out from the Briato Shel Olam, from what God did by the time of creation. So it would seem that the mitzvah is to have a minimum, right? We rule like Beit Hillel, and therefore the mitzvah is to have at least one of each gender, and therefore it would seem that a person might be able to get involved. We'll soon discuss the different methods to get involved in trying to fulfill this mitzvah. So I've brought a number of the different responses here. Okay, now I'm sorry, one of the sources over here first is the Gemara Nida actually discusses different means that a person might take in order to have the child a male, as it's discussing over there. Right? The Gemara says, Shemashahin atzman bebeten, that one during marital intimacy tries to hold back on, to give the woman more time, Kadeshi azriyo nishotein techila, in order that the women will reach that stage first, and that helps shiyu benahem zecharim. That helps that the children will be male, right? As the pasuk says, it's referring to a pasuk about them. Hey, mar ben banim b'nei banim. V'hainu da'ar amar as Rav Katina said, Yicholani lasod kol b'nai zecharim. I'm able to make sure that all my children will be male. Okay, so the Gemara discusses different means, so it seems that it's okay to try different means. The question, though, is how how serious the means are. So let's go to the first teshuvah that we had, and these are only in Hebrew, I apologize. The first one is from Rav Yeshua Neubert. And he writes, Kavod Rabbanei Pua, right, to the distinguished rabbis of the Pua Institute, Acharei Drishat Shlomchem, after extending my greetings to you, let me tell you, tsarly, I'm saddened. It causes me pain. Sha'atem mitaskim, that you are dealing bi'inyanim shenistarim me'itanu, that you are dealing with matters that are hidden from us. Meaning, tafkidchem, your mission, Pua Institute, is la'azor la'anashim bi'inyanei ishut, is to help couples in their marital aspects, the lo bi'inyanim ke'ela, but not entering into this realm. The ode, furthermore, anachnu tzrichim la'asot et shalanu, we need to do ours, v'hashar biyadei hakadosh baruch hu, and the rest is in the hands of God. In other words, there are two ways of looking at this mitzvah of having a boy and a girl. Right? And it's a very unusual sort of mitzvah because it's not something that we control, at least under normal circumstances, short of these pretty aggressive methods that were discussed, methods 2 and 3. It's something that's beyond our control. So, how do we view this mitzvah? So, Rav Neubert seems to be viewing it very simply. The mitzvah is to try, to do your best, and to have children until you've accomplished this threshold of, as we rule according to Beit Hillel, male and female. But this is nistarim. This is something that's not in our control. And therefore we should not do it. Agav, furthermore, Tayin, look in the Svarim, he says, of Professor Avraham, Dr. Abraham, Shumevi Michtav Me'agon Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, where he brought a letter from Rav Shlomo Zalman. Now, Rav Shlomo Zalman was one of the great poskim of the previous generation, and he spoke in general that about these IUI or IVF, right, treatments, right, in vitro fertilization or intrauterine insemination. Now, that always involves spilling some sperm, right, in order to get to that point where you've got the sperm and thereby can have the fertilization. So, even though in all cases where this happens in the laboratory, IUI or IVF, only a small amount of the cells, the sperm cells, are used and the rest are disposed, nevertheless, when the purpose is fertility, that's not considered levatala. That's not considered spilling it, wasting it. On the contrary, the whole reason this is being done is in order to bring about fertilization, in order to bring about a pregnancy. So in those situations, he allows it. However, Rav Shlomo Zalman felt, where it's being done for the purpose of a specific gender, Rav Shlomo Zalman, and like Rav Norbert, who's later on, right, a student of his, or let's say, broadly speaking, right, a student of his, says that this is not an area where one should get involved. Okay, now, as we saw from the Gemara in Nedarim, the first method, which is eating certain types of food, certainly that would not be, creating a more acidic or less acidic. If that does work, that should not really be a problem. Now, granted that at times a couple would need to desist from engaging in marital intimacy on the night of the mikvah, and a couple is not supposed to desist on the night of the mikvah. Nevertheless, if both spouses agree that that's what they want to do, then that should not be a problem. The issue, like I said, though, is when we get to items number 2 and 3. So if we look at the mitzvah of pru or vu as you try your best, and beyond that, this is God's decision. This is God's world. And if this family has 7 boys, there'll be another family that has 7 girls, and God will make the shiduchim. He will arrange the marriages, and all will be good.
But even no matter how advanced the fertility clinics are, even they may find donors who are motile, who have sperm that is motile, but even then they cannot predetermine what the sperm will be.
Well, over here we're talking about utilizing the husbands and the wives.
You can do
Right?
sorting.
Right? And the question is, that's how it began, right? Trying to sort or fertilizing externally, determining, right? When they fertilize externally and then they can determine 100% the gender, right?
Yeah.
And then they implant that into the uterus, right? That's what can be done. Rav Avigdor Nevenshal writes, Laniat dati, according to my view, haderech harishona hi muvcheret. The first way, right, the natural method is preferred because there is no destruction of any seed in such a case. And then he writes, the second method is preferred over the third method. So therefore he seems to be allowing it. Right? The first method is best. Second method, right, that's ideal. Second method is preferred over the third method. But he is not categorically rejecting the possibility. Right? There are those that say after a person has had 3 of one gender, some write after, right, Rav Mordechai Eliyahu, right, he permitted IVF, the third way, to choose the gender, if they already have 5 children of one gender, or if the woman is already older, and this is likely her last opportunity to have a baby. So he seems to be understanding the mitzvah of pru or vu is to have that boy and girl. And if you have the ability to do that, then you can. One's not obligated to go through all the expenses of IVF, which are very costly, but one may. And it's not considered levatala because it's to fulfill the mitzvah of pru or vu. And therefore one should try to have 1 child of each gender. So in fact we have almost the full spectrum. We have those who allow even all 3, those who would only allow somewhat grudgingly the first method, right? And the issue boils down to, what is the mitzvah of pru or vu? Right? Is it for you to do, or is it for you to try? Right? If it's for you to try, then you've done your effort, right? Certainly a couple that can have children, okay, so they tried, right? That's already God's realm. That's not their own. Or if they've tried and they've had, one gender over and over and over and over, okay, that's God's world, right? And there's nothing more that can be expected from them. The other view is if one can, then it would, and one wants to, and one can afford to, then it would not be considered levatala. It would be It would be considered proper steps towards fulfilling the mitzvah of not just trying, but actually fulfilling that mitzvah. Yes.
Why is the mitzvah pru and uvu gender related in the first place? Is it gender related?
Yes. Yes, it is. It is. And there are 4 different opinions in the Gemara. Right? Right? there is, if I remember correctly, what we just saw, there is 2 boys, boy or girl. It's also an opinion, I think, of 2 boys and 2 girls, right? But it seems clear that the mitzvah is, right, a certain amount of genders, and then the different opinions try to derive what are those amounts.
And that's what we normally know as be fruitful and multiply, right?
Pru or vu is be fruitful and multiply.
Okay, so somehow internally I mixed up which is number 1, which is number 2. I mean, that you've labeled them that.
Oh, so number 1 is a person's diet and timing the marital intimacy in terms of the wife ovulating. Number 2 is IUI, where we separate, right? And the 3rd is IVF. Okay? Now, I did want to bring just a very interesting addition that Rav Menashe Klein put onto his response to this. And I think it really gets to the core of our trying to play God and how cautious we need to be with this. He writes, following in Hebrew, Echa mitamidai, B'artzena Kedosha. One of my students in our holy land in Israel, Nit'abra ishto arba nishamot. His wife became pregnant with quadruplets. Halchala rofei karagil. She went to the doctor for a regular appointment. Below yada kamen nit'abra. She was unaware that she was carrying quadruplets. The doctor explained to Hizbul HaRofei, Shehi nit'abra ba'arba'a. She has 4 children inside her. V'tzorech l'chasel l'chol ha'pachot shnayim. The doctor said we've got to remove 2 kedei sheshnayim achirim yichlu l'chyot, in order that the other 2 will be able to live. Habal, the husband, kishashama divrei Rofi, when he heard the words of the doctor, v'hizbir lo, and the doctor explained to him, shehu pikuach nefesh shechol harba'a, right? It's endangering the lives of all 4. Im lo yasiru shnayim l'chol ha'pachot. Unless they remove 2, the lives of all 4 are in danger. Haba'al hishiv l'rofei. The husband responded to the doctor, Kaven shekain, if that's the case, v'hu nogel ha'rog shnei yeladim, and therefore he's being asked to kill, to terminate the life of 2 of these fetuses, tzarech lo l'hitya'etz v'lish'ol halacha mirabo. Then this is a halachic question, and he must go and confer with his rabbi, with his halachic authority. Tziltzel alai. So Menashe Klein explains, he called me, v'siper li ha'inyan v'abaya, and explained to me the situation and the problem. Sharofei to'ein pikuach nefesh u'ma yaseh, that the doctor is claiming that this is a matter of saving lives. So what should he do? Heshafti lo, I responded, she'elech la'rofei, he should go to the doctor, v'yagid lo shekein halacha, tell the doctor that the following is Jewish law. Pikuach nefesh docha hakol. That saving a life overrides everything. Below rak shnayim, not just 2 of the children. Afilu kol arba'a, all 4 of them. Im heim chas v'sholem pikuach nefesh la'em. If they are endangering the life of the mother, then the life of all these 4 fetuses should be terminated. Mutal apil et kol arba'a. Then he should abort all 4 of them. Ella. But, since right now you've got 4 viable children, healthy embryos in this pregnancy, and they're all his children, and the doctor is saying to him, since all 4 of them are in a state of danger, unless they abort 2 of them, V'ata kivun midin Torah ein dochen nefesh mipnei nefesh. According to the laws of Torah, you can't take away one viable life in order to save another viable life. The kevin she'eni yodea ezim hem harodef. So we don't know. In halakha terms, you have what's called a rodef. someone who's pursuing someone else to kill, and the nirdaf, the person who's running for his life. There the halacha is that the person being chased or anyone else can kill the person who's rodef, who is pursuing, trying to kill. But over here, how do we know who is the rodef? Which one is the one that is trying to kill the other? Vehem kulam o rodfim zelazeh o nirdafin. All four of them are either, they all have the status of a rodef, one who's coming to kill others, or they all have the status of nirdaf, those who are being pursued by a killer. Ve'ein lo etza, and we have no way of knowing eiz mibanav lahamit, ve'eiz mibanav lachyot. Which ones should be aborted, and which ones should be allowed to continue to live and grow. And therefore, mevakesh me'arofei, ask the doctor, shuhu yavchin, let the doctor ascertain, v'yomalo, and tell you, which two are the ones that are pursuing, so to speak, that are taking away the life of the other two. And then the rofe yachol levatzeh kedato, let the doctor decide according to his understanding, shu elu hashnaim neheragin, though these two should be killed, latzil tashnaim acherim, to save the others, kedin matzilin tanirdav and asharotev, as we have the general rule that we will kill the pursuer in order to save the life of the one that the pursuer is pursuing. Harofei hufta mehateshuva. The doctor was taken aback by this response. Uvelet breira, and with no other choice, meaning there's no two that he could identify and say, oh, these two are the troublemakers. Lo asa klum. And therefore they did not do anything. Ubaruch Hashem, and thank God, Ha'isha yalda arba'a yiladim. Right? She gave birth to 4 children. Shnei bachurim l'shtei banot, 2 boys and 2 girls. Even the most stringent opinion of 2 boys and 2 girls, she took care of that in one fell swoop. V'chayom hein b'li ayin hara b'shnat ha'eser. Right? And this point, right, the children are b'li ayin hara, entering their 10th year. The kol shana shani bal Eretz Yisrael, and every year when I visit Israel, this Rav writes, hein ba'im elai kulam. They all come to see me. They all come to visit. L'kabel et birchati, to receive, whatever, to greet me, receive my blessings. Al kopanim hamasim va'ofanim hashniyim shezachar. Okay. Coming back though, the other 2 methods that you mentioned, meshes 2 and 3, he said, Ein li lahem shum heter. All right, I don't see any permissibility. But to me, this story speaks volumes of how careful we need to be, right, as medicine develops, how careful we need to be when we decide to play God to a certain degree when it comes to these things. Again, right, clearly, if lives are clearly in danger, if the mother's life's in danger, then all the children, all the embryos, I should say children, not once they're born, but all the embryos, right, once they're born, then we don't push away one life to save another life, right? But in general, we have the different approaches to the mitzvah of pru urvu, the different approaches that are available, and the different halachic opinions as to which ones can a couple get involved with, which ones, according to some opinions, they may, and according to other opinions, they may not. And the root comes down to how in control are we? Is it our mitzvah to try our best, or is it our mitzvah to bring about the results when we can, through such extreme steps, then we can bring about those results.
So, if I, any major big
Sorry?
Is there a prevailing ruling, or?
It depends who you ask. Aylor. Ask your local Orthodox rabbi. Now that's a situation that a person would need to confer with who they go to for these types of questions, and there is a wide range of opinions when it comes to this, right? We don't have a Sanhedrin, we don't have one central halachic governing authority, and that's one of the aspects of our being in galut, in exile, and a person needs to, in good conscience, go to a person who either can give an answer or will ask in a way that they feel comfortable the person will ask, and confer with the heavyweights of the world today, and get direction as to how they should proceed. Okay, my friends, we will call it over here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Scott.
Nice meeting you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Same.
Very enlightening.
Scott.